the same procedure as you did on the other side of the shape. Starting from the section behind the ear and then taking slightly diagonal sections parallel to each other and over-directing your next section back to your guide section. And as you already know, with that kind of over-direction, you will create triangular dynamic on the shape. So elongated shape towards the front. You have to control your weight line as well. The weight line will be gradually moving from the point you started and towards the front. Now we're going to work with our invisible disconnection. The functional of this area will be flattening the internal shape, and this area will be positioned under the fringe section. Notice this disconnected area is positioned right on the roundness of the head, on the most outermost zone of the head shape. So knowing the texture we're working with and knowing the functional of that area, we can use the layer technique and flatten that area of the head. If we will not do it in this particular case, we may achieve a disbalance because the left side of the shape will look a little bit heavier for the reason that the fringe will be moving on the left side. So if you decided to flatten the shape, make sure you're choosing flat cutting angle. And as well, you have to be very precise with your elevation. So your elevation have to be right opposite the roundness of the head, and the cutting angle have to be flat. Make sure you're controlling the tension on each section and you're controlling over direction on the section. And now our triangular disconnection on internal shape. The disconnection which will be creating strong movement and texture within internal shape. We're going to work here with a layer technique using pivoting sectioning pattern, moving our sections from one point from recession area, and the cutting angle will be from short to long. Shorter from the recession area, longer towards the crown. So just remember, shorter you go, the more extreme shape you create. So you will be working here with flat cutting angle. You don't want your shape to expand, you want it to be flat. As you remember, because we're working with quite porous and thick hair. Visualization is quite an important factor when you're building the shape. If you're going to create any shape, first of all, you have to visualize it. You have to imagine the shape you're going to create. You have to imagine the expanded shape. The awareness of expanded shapes and deep knowledge about expanded shapes you can find and learn when you're studying a fundamental shapes and techniques. Without knowing 9 fundamental diagrams, 9 fundamental shapes, you will not be able to control a creative shapes at all. So if you're watching this video and you don't know or asking yourself what is expanded shape, then it means maybe it would be better for you to research that topic. You can find out how 3 different geometries have to look like in expanded shapes on the diagrams, Matrix 9. You can find this lecture on the main circle of the website. It will be second circle from outside. And now our last section, it will be fringe. We will be taking diagonal sections. Next section parallel to the previous, and we will be over directing those sections to one point to the opposite side from the fringe movement. So if we decided to move the fringe onto the left side, we have to create the dynamic onto the left side, and to create that dynamic we have to over direct the fringe onto the opposite side, so to the right side. You have to know and understand a very important law of dynamic within our craft. The shortest hair will always push the longest. So all the sections over directing to one point to create that strong dynamic from one point towards the left on the left side. And now creating clean triangular connection with the outline on the left side. When we've finished our shape creation on the wet hair, we're going to blow dry the hair and prepare the hair for the polishing. So make sure you don't texturize your shape on the wet hair, because you will not see a right picture. You have to blow dry the hair, you have to check the outlines, how heavy they are, and then make the decision what kind of texturizing technique you will start using. And make sure before you start texturizing your shape, you polished the shape properly. Now you can see the shape after it being polished. I didn't use any texturizing techniques here, just went through the shape using exactly the same section importance, over directions, and just made sure that I removed a little bit excess weight from the outlines. And this is it. Now you can see the final result. As you can see, the shape is quite versatile, so your client can wear the fringe on the left side,